Hello everyone, how's it going? Dr. Incompetent here, and let's play some Factorio, shall we? Continuing our complete beginner's guide here in 2023, and, well, as you can see, we finished up green science, and it's thrumming along, but the pace isn't that great for it, right? And that's because we need to build some more assemblers to do that. However, we are now at the point where we can actually build better assemblers, all right, which will make some of these things faster, which is beautiful, but we need to get steel for these assembling machines. You can see it's the top ingredient on the list. We can make everything else, but we can't make that. Now for this, if we want to make assembling machines, we need all sorts of things. We need wire, we need circuits, so I think it's probably in our best interest to do exactly that, okay? And what do I mean by that? I can, if I want, okay, make a little place for myself that is just wire and just circuits that aren't part of the green science, production scheme that can give us the opportunity to make some things by hand, like assemblers if I want, but I don't really know how badly I need that. Now, I can, for example, right here, just, pick up all these copper cables out of these that are blocked anyway, right? So I got some copper cable, and I can take circuits if there's any left over. And then now, I can make this on my own, but I need wheels for that, right? And so I'm going to need to go over and pick up my wheels, which I do have placed over here. And then now I can go ahead and make one, but I don't have any iron plates, so I need to pick up my plates. And then now our inventory is full, but let's go ahead and unload some of this. So for example, this, I'm just going to put all of this science in the science home. All of this ore I do not need, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and just see if I can unload all this ore in the proper smelting places. And there we go. And then let me give all this copper ore away. I don't need to carry it. Okay, good. Now I can make these much easier. I do have to make circuits by hand, but that's okay. All right. You see, too, by the way, eventually the green science backs up. Now, one of the things that we always are paying attention to with our factory is, okay, where is the backup? Where's the bottleneck? Where's the deficiency? Where's the surplus? Once we get a surplus of red and green science, we could actually build a network of more labs if we wanted, okay? So that we could research things faster, and that's certainly a possibility. We also can just pipette, okay, actually, with just Control-C, just kind of copy that and, put another one of these down if we wanted. Q. Oop. There we go. And there. Oh, right. Actually, go ahead and put this here. All right. Now, while this is all working, this is our iron ore production line. You can see right here, there's a ton of iron ore coming. And I honestly think we have enough iron ore, okay, backed up, that we can afford to take some of this and produce a new line on the main bus, which will be for plates. Okay, I'm sorry, steel. So I'm going to plan this out. In the future, usually what I want with my bus is I need a space on the top and a space on the bottom so that I can put a splitter. Okay, so if I want to build a splitter, I'm going to need to have a free space on the top for the copper plate split and a space on the bottom for the iron plate split. So I'm going to leave 2 spaces then between and put the next bus line kind of right here. Okay, so this is going to be where the steel will go. Then there's room for the steel to split on the top, and I can put another parallel belt going right underneath it and split it out the bottom. All right, now I will say, just for clarity, I know that out there on the internet are amazing videos and guides and resources for Factorio that would teach you design models that are more efficient, tidier than the ones that I produce, because I like to just figure things out kind of with just minimal guidance, and I just want to stress I'm not doing it the best way. I'm just doing it a way to show you some of the things that happen in Factorio so you can understand just some of the game's processes through how I do it, but also learn from my inefficiency, my inexperience, and improve on it. So I'm just going to split this line right here, okay? Like so. Oh, there we go. And then, yeah, you can't have it facing the opposite direction. I'm going to kind of curve this around, okay? And we're just going to have this go under the coal belt. And right here, we're going to mimic this, all right? But what's interesting, you know, it depends. All right, we finished this research. Let's see, what else do we want to do? Let's research faster belts, logistics 2. This gives us red belts, splitters, and underground belts. These are just faster than the yellow belts. They're great. This is actually an interesting design crossroad. You could take the ore and split this and make a new facility where you melt iron plates and then turn iron plates into steel. Or I could split off the iron plates and simply make steel from these and continue using my existing smelting structure. To be honest, where I'm at, I actually produce a pretty good amount of plates. So instead of just building a bunch of more ovens, I'm going to just split off the plates. But if you ever find yourself where you start running low on plates and you feel like it's because of your steel, you can make a separate smelting steel factory. But given our setup, I'm going to just split this here, okay? And run these through here. And then we're going to need to build some assemblers, okay, that will make steel for us. And I'm actually going to kind of put those over here for now. I don't want to block up the rock, even though I don't really need a ton of rock, but this is okay. All right, so let's just imagine it could look like this. And then we say, all right, we're going to have these plates come through. We're going to get rid of these trees. Okay, and then now I am going to send this through the stone, but we can always underground belt it if we need to later. Okay, and then we'll see if this is enough steel for us for now. If we need to scale, it is no problem. We will just put them up here. Okay. Oh, do you know what, though? No, I can't put it right here. Okay. It's too close to where I want my bus. It's almost the right idea, but it doesn't give my main bus enough line. So what you can always do is just fill that in to make sure that you have a space here and here. And instead, what I'm going to do is put these on the other side. So I can't be too close to my bus, but we need to make steel. And steel doesn't get made in assemblers. You smelt again, okay, to do that. And what do I mean by that? Well, we're going to need to take, okay, iron plates and put them into these furnaces. And then we're also going to need to fuel these babies. So it's going to look like this. I'm going to change where my coal belt is going, okay? And this will just accommodate the whole thing. It's actually kind of nice because then we don't have to worry about... now, before I do it, I'm just going to build the belt itself, and then we'll just kind of reroute this here, and we can start taking this down. I'm going to take all this coal that I picked up and just kind of fill up all these furnaces. Just like that. I'm even going to take these plates, and I'll show you. Once you put the plates in there, immediately the recipe changes, okay, to steel. So now we have this all set up, but we do need power poles to make this happen. Now, because of that, we are going to have to create some underground belt situations. And there's simply not much we can do about that, but here we go. Power pole here, power pole here, and a power pole here. Okay. And we need to make more underground belts, and great. There we go. Now it's time to start peeling this off. I need a power pole there. And we need a belt running here. And this is steel. And now we can... You know what, though? I'm actually going to have it go the other way. There we go. And right up to the top. There we go. So now we've created a small system for making steel, and it's running up. Now another thing that we can do, if we like, okay, is just expand this going down, down, down. Oh yeah, no, it has to be there. That's right. Okay. There we go. So I'm just going to Control-C this. Build some more of these. Oh, no, I didn't get enough. There we go. Now, it always gets a little bit tricky when you are talking about the business of power poles, but we'll figure it out. Sweet. Okay. Uh-huh. And we're just going to kind of continue the belt, bringing the steel plates here. And we could, of course, just take steel plates off the main bus instead of doing this, But I treat steel kind of as a different thing. This is going the wrong way. There we go. And so is that. And so is that. Okay, how about that? Yes, there it goes. There it goes. All right. And we need to put one of these here. Perfect. Just have to switch, switch these. And we need a power pole there. There we go. Now we can just say this is steel running down the main bus. And if we want, we can always just, you know, faux double our production like so. Small amount of steel for now. We'll boost this up. Now you always have to look for places where you have a problem. Like right here, we need to switch these inserters. There we go. And right here, we also need to switch the inserters. Wherever you put that underground belt for the power, it's going to get in the way. There we go. Awesome. So at this point, we are making a fair bit of steel and doing fine, and our plate production isn't suffering too much of a hit from this. You can see it scattering here, but we're still making plates and doing okay as we research, and red and green science look good. But what I want you to note is that as I did this, I did it on the fly. I always just do things kind of organically and try to solve problems in different ways. And all of this is optional. All right? This is not how you could design your factory, or even should. You don't have to take iron plates off your main bus. You could create a separate area to smelt. You could bring the ore up over here. You could not even use, you could keep your iron plate ore manufacturing and digging area separate from your iron ore extraction and delivery method, and then have 2 rows of furnaces. That's actually what I have in my Let's Play. I have a row of furnaces down below that takes iron ore, and then it feeds it right into another furnace, which takes the plate from the first furnace and turns it into a steel in the next furnace. So, you know, there's so many different ways to do this, and what's cool, and I kind of want to articulate in this guide, is just explaining the different possibilities, all the different decisions that you have to make. If you do not like how I'm feeding things and using long-handed inserters and underground belts and all that jazz, then find a different solution. Find one that you like better, you know? It's so much fun, and it's so cool that there are all these different options that you have to basically think and solve problems in your own way. All right? So right now what you'll notice is that really the problem and why these bars of steel, these girders, aren't just coming out again and again, has nothing to do with the fact that we don't have enough plates or enough coal. It has everything to do with the fact that it just takes a long time to take plates and you know, fire them into steel girders in the furnace. So if we wanted to speed this up, well, of course, what we could do is just duplicate this. Now, that is an interesting option where we could, like I said, if we wanted, all right, just Control C, all right, and start and just copy this entire upper portion, and then you can actually, when you have a copied system of blueprints, you can actually just rotate it and invert it, right? And we could say, well, great, now I actually want this, to be here in this fashion. Now, it's not going to work exactly. I can actually put it like this if I wanted. Now, I'm going to need down here both of these as well. So I would need to, take iron plates and put them down here. Or what I can do is just simply run it down here like this. And then I could split this coal up here, or I could just split it here, and then bring coal all the way over. And now, once I get this all set up, this could potentially work. But, of course, what you'll notice being problematic about this is I'm going to need a ton of underground belts, because I'm going to need power poles. So we can start, building these furnaces, and we need more furnaces. I'll make 10 more. I've got all the stone on me, so it's pretty easy. Oop, that's not right. Uh-huh. All right, there's all the furnaces. Okay. And then we can... Oop, boy. I don't know where that came from. Go ahead and say, okay, we need all of this going. And we might have to alternate these based on where we build the power poles and all of that. Make sure that wherever you have these yellow inserters, that they actually will hit the belt given what you've got lined up. Looks good. Logistics 2, all done. Now you have some choices here. You can, actually the tool belt is amazing. So let's get this right away. This expands your inventory. It just lets you have more slots on your inventory. So it's beautiful. Let's get it. And we're going to go ahead and take this and just put in all these. And we need to make more. And this is, again, illustrating. You can do this at whatever juncture that you want, but you're going to want to automate the production of every single item for the most part, so that whenever you run low, you can just go and nab them. Red inserters, yellow inserters, or blue if you want to skip them entirely. I'm out of plates, so let's go get some plates. Luckily for me, I keep a bunch right here. I don't know if I needed 1,600, but that's a good amount. And you'll see, remember, with the badge in your crafting panel, anything with that little notification tells you it's new. And actually, let's play around. Let's have some fun with this. Okay, this is a great thing for me to get to explain now that we've done some research. You can, once you've researched what we have, and I'll open up our tree so that you can see it. Technology tree. Oh, yeah, at the bottom you can see the ones that... So just for reference, at the top, when you're looking at the list of technologies, yellow means you can make it, red means you aren't there yet, and you're missing something. Like, even though we can make red and green science, we would need something else in the tree ahead of this researched from up in these yellow options before we could get military science. Green means you've done it. So we go down here and electric energy distribution. Once we did that, we get 2 new kinds of power poles, and we get medium electric poles and big electric poles. This is something I had to learn, but basically I thought bigger would be better. Big electric poles have a longer line, so they're good for connecting power across The map, if you want to run power from one station to another, like if you have just separate facilities, but the medium electric poles are actually what you want within your base that have a bigger radius of power distribution. I'm going to show you that so that we can actually perhaps change how we power this section down below, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and just grab these and put them down here. And you'll notice as you look at the kind of teal area, look how big I can actually, okay, put these on top and now power everything, and I don't have to build these underground belts. So once you get better technology, you can actually start completely changing, okay, how you build your factory. So we could take out all of those underground belts if we didn't like how they looked, for example. But we don't really need to. It's just something interesting that we could do. All right. And let's see. What is the problem here? You aren't getting... Oh, I didn't build the red inserter. Right. There you go. Okay. So now you don't have a red inserter either. There you go. Now just look for fire. Everything's firing. Now what's cool is this is going to, okay, put... I can take this out. We don't need to split it anymore because now we have the same amount of steel girders going on the bottom and the top of the belt, as these are dumping it, remember, on the opposite side with the yellow inserter to the top. So now we have a bunch of steel going down the main bus. And that means we can start making some new things, okay? So what do we want to make? Well, now that we have steel, we can potentially make assembling machines Mark II if we want, okay? And what I like to do is, as I've said, I'm going to just right-click on the spaceship, by the way, and you get a bunch of firearms, and it's gone. So now we have some more space, all right? But I think it'll be a good practice to just build some really, really minute places that we're only going to use at this time. And what do I mean by that? I'm going to split again. No, I don't need to split. Never mind. I lied. I'm going to make this apart, though. I'm going to set this apart with a medium pole. Maximize power. I'm going to build an assembler right here, and I've separated it by 1 so that I can just visually see that this is a place where I'm going to shift right click, shift left click. I'm going to make... turn that around the right way. I'm going to make wire, okay? Now, I'm going to have one inserter that grabs wire and puts it into a box, okay? And I'm going to set this box so that I can just have 3 stacks of wire. But then I'm also going to have an inserter that grabs this and places it into here. And this is going to shift left click or shift right click, shift left click, make circuits. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to peel these off immediately into a little box right here and just have these on hand. I'm not going to have like a whole box full. I could do that if I wanted, I suppose, but there's no need to have that many in my opinion. I'm going to make a smaller electric pole right here just because I have a bunch and I want to use them up. It's actually more convenient to make medium electric poles at this point because you don't have to go around getting wood anymore. You don't have to go around chopping trees manually. You can just make these with copper plates, steel plates, and iron sticks. And speaking of that... Oh, that's right. This needs... I always forget that. This needs steel as well. Or iron plates, I'm sorry. There you go. All right. So now we're just making these little places for us in our factory where we have some of the items that we might need, the intermediate products, or even just the logistical products stored away so that we can just run over, pick a bunch up, put them into our backpack, and be good to go. All right. So, speaking of power lines, well, we're going to need a bunch of power lines. Now, I am making, okay, conveyor belts, right? And I'm putting them right here, so I have plenty of those. But what about inserters? Are we saving inserters anywhere? And the answer is no. And we need to. So I'm going to peel off. And I'm going to... Oh, where do I want to put these? This is probably the easiest. Yeah. I'm going to just take inserters off the line and put them into this wooden box even. I don't need that many, it's fine. And I'll just have it like that. Just have a bunch saved up. Okay. Now, remember, you can always go to your map and zoom in and just kind of... I always put them right by where I'm making them so I can run over to where I see the belts or the inserters on the map and then find my little box to pick up some if I need them. Now later, as you get later in the game, you're going to get an even better way to top yourself off of resources on the boxes so you won't have to go running around getting things manually as your automation powers increase. But for now, this is as good as we can get, so might as well run with it. And looks good to me. Let's see, how are you doing? You're waiting for gears. You might never get gears because of how I'm passing them. So I'm actually going to switch the order of these inserters like this. Alright, and then... Oh, no. The reason you're not... Never mind. I always get confused sometimes, but whenever you're not sure why something isn't producing, you see that there's no gears here, and at my first glance, I'm like, well, it's not making anything because there's no gears. But no. Always check the output. And the message up top, it says output full. The reason it's not grabbing gears, it can easily grab gears. It's because it can't. It's full. It can't get any more. So... that's good. All right. Tool belt finished. Okay. So, what else do we want? Let's go ahead and get advanced material processing. That's fine. Now, also, okay, if I go into my inventory by pushing E, you'll see I automatically have the tool belt applied, and I got this extra row down here. Fantastic. So I think it'll be fun just to make a small little factory here just for myself. This isn't for producing anything extra or fancy. This is just for my convenience so I don't have to on the go make medium electric poles anymore by hand. I want these automated. So we need copper plates. So we'll just, what do we need? We need copper plates, steel plates, and iron sticks. Okay. So we can build a assembling machine right here. All right, and we'll just go ahead and even use the power pole that's right there. I'm going to select on this medium electric. I'm just going to feed that there, but we need this. So remember, for here, we're splitting on the bottom and we're splitting on the top. So I'm actually going to just feed this down, and we want the steel to go right along the side here. But we're also going to have iron sticks, all right? And iron sticks are made from plates, so we need to feed up these as well to give them, okay, to this. So let's plan this, and I'm going to do the more complicated bit first, okay? So we need to have a facility that is going to make us the sticks on demand. So we will split this like this, and we'll just kind of keep running the bus along, and this needs to go okay like this. And here's how it works. When you need to cross over the main bus, okay, you can do it like this, where we went under it, or in this case, okay, if we go in the front, all right, and we want this line to go right here, we're going to actually build this first and build it like this, all right, and then you can just build these under like that. Either way, both ways work, of course, but just bear in mind that you cannot turn the corner and go under on the same tile, that you actually need one more space. You can't turn and go underground in the same path, so you would kind of need to turn and then come back down around and then be going straight to go under like we did back there. So whichever way you like. And I'm going to go ahead and take this, and we're going to say we need you to make this. And hey, speaking of nice power poles, go ahead. And there it goes. And then remember, you don't even need a conveyor. You just feed these into there like that. And the final piece of this puzzle, this needs three things, is it needs steel plates. So we need to split again, okay? And we need it to be on a belt, okay? And be in such a fashion that it can go from the belt here. The inserters can't turn the corner, so what I'm going to do is just split this up top. And now, because we already have this built, okay, we need to we need to adjust it. We can't. That's too. Can't do it right there because of this one. All right. So what we got to do is say, okay, this would normally run like this, and we're going to run this like this. All right. But you'll see. Oh, wait a minute. It doesn't work because it runs right into this. So what do? We need it to actually kind of go here. So let's ghost this in like. This is fine. Okay. This would work, all right, for us. But the problem is, there we go. The problem is that we actually need it to go under again because of this inserter, but we can always move the inserter if we don't want to, but it's not actually a big deal. All right, and then we could kind of have it go like this. All right, and then grab an inserter right here that would take off the steel. Now, this is our main bus, right? So how are we going to do this? Well, the way that we're going to, because we plan on having another line right here potentially. So let's just fill this in so that we can illustrate this problem. So I need to I could just send the main bus up here and then split this, right? And then do something ridiculous, which would be put the main bus like this, you know, and it doesn't look correct, but it will work. Because of the tight corners, because of the other splitter, this is one way to solve this problem. The main bus actually jumps up here for a moment and then continues, and we are splitting this sort of along the bottom to get it going here. All right, we need to change the ordering, and now you should see every piece. Oops. This can just actually go. I'm going to put it here. And now this is making what we want. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a inserter right here. And I'm going to take a box and put it here. And now we're going to have a bunch of poles lying around. And that's good. We finished advanced material processing. Fantastic. You can go to engines, which is very helpful. You can go to landfill. You can go to solar energy. Okay, all of this is great. I'm going to go to engines, start it up. And at this point, what I'm working on is just starting to automate everything that I've got set up here that I want from intermediate products and production, right? So we even want to automate assembling machines, okay? We don't really need to automate stone furnaces. At least I don't normally do that, but we want to automate mining drills, potentially even boilers, things like this, so that we can have them on hand for when we want more. We've already automated these inserters, but we might want red and we might want blue, okay? We're automating, we just finished automating this. I don't usually automate big ones, but you can. And we're going to need to automate pipes at some point when we start doing fluid, but we haven't gotten there yet. And once you feel good about your level of gears and everything, you can start changing your belts from yellow to red if you want to speed up some of your throughput in areas where you can actually match that speed. But it's important to pay attention to your ratios to see if that's even beneficial or not. So, everyone, this is kind of how the game starts to play out. You can expand now and just start to test your facility. Build up more research facilities, build up more green science production, build up more red science production. Start automating everything, continue researching new technologies, and grow your factory in whichever way that you want, solving the problems however you see fit. I hope you found this introductory series to Factorio to be helpful. Again, it's not optimal, it's not the best way to do it, it's just explaining some of the game so that you can begin to replicate this and learn from what's going on. Oh wow, look, we need more. Okay, so the power isn't there, but remember, one offshore pump can, I believe, support 20 boilers, and each boiler can support 2 steam engines. So we just need to build another boiler, okay? All right, so we say, hey, give me a boiler, and here we go. Our power is right now. Our grid right now is kind of like sometimes not getting completely satisfied, so we need to change this. So we're just going to build a couple of steam engines, and we need to put an inserter here so that this gets power, okay? And then we'll just pipette this. Oh, the electric pole's in the way. We'll get rid of it. Do this and this. And this needs some electricity, but we can just build a medium pole here. And let me see here. Nope. Okay. Interesting. This is no problem though. Check this out. This one needs power, and we can't reach it with what we've got. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to build a medium power pole here, just on the inside, and all we have to do is build one pipe, okay? And we can put a pipe here and then just space out our boiler to fit that power pole there. And then there we go. Now, okay, everything's got power. And check out the grid. Problem solved. Might want to expand this even further. So keep stress testing your factory, see where the gaps are, expand, and enjoy Factorio. Everyone, thank you so much for watching. Take care.